What's up, guys? Is anybody there? Figured I'd try turning this on a little bit sooner. YouTube's done something. They've changed like the live streaming format, so I just kind of wanted to make sure it would actually work right before time here. So if y'all are there, sound out. Heath, my man, what's up, baby? Oh, how you doing, dude? Landon, my man. I'm going to do your shout out today, bro. I'm going to let a few more people get on first. My wife's been reminding me all week long. She's like, don't you forget Landon now. I was like, all right, I won't do it. I promise. I know, I'm telling you, Louisiana, it's the same thing. YouTube, they're always changing something up. Now, sometimes it's really good, like that YouTube Studio Beta thing. That was awesome for analytics and stuff. But some of their changes, sometimes you just wake up and, whoa, everything's different. You get to try to learn something new. How's the fishing? I have not been this week. I'm really excited though because I'm going tomorrow. But I've been getting reports from everybody, and everybody's catching the fire out of fish, even with this cold front. If you want some current content, go check out Kyle Welcher. Just posted a couple videos. He's been catching the fire out of some fish, so they seem to be biting regardless of the kind of the cold front that's going on. What's up, Randy? Does chick look like chocolate milk? Some of it does. Some of the creeks and backwaters are cleared up pretty well. The water is pushed all the way back down. We're almost to winter pool. It looks like tomorrow it'll be winter pool completely again. So the water's fallen a whole lot, but it seems like it's stabilizing. I looked at the dam, some of the readings on there, and I noticed that they're finally dialing back the water from like 170 to into the 150, so I'm hoping that'll continue to trend. They'll drop that water some. I'd really like to get down there and fish some tailwaters and stuff, but we'll see what they do. I got a puppy over here. Rebecca picked up a puppy I think last week. We had her about 2 weeks now, and so she's running in and out of the room. I can't close the door, otherwise she'll start yapping at us. All right, so anyway, guys, I'm not going to waste any more time. Today, what we're doing is we're going to talk about catching fish during a cold front. We've got one going on right now. We're at the very tail end of it. We're going to hit a warming trend, but there's going to be a few more that are really going to make a difference on out towards, into the spring and into this pre-spawn period here. So, let's see here. Landon, you've been waiting all week for the stream, dude. I'm glad you're here. Y'all need to get down there. I know I've got a few people watching now. Get down and you look at Landon Wallace in the chat. Click on his icon there. Y'all need to check out his channel. Cool little kid. He's been doing some awesome stuff. I noticed he's got a lot of hunting videos up and stuff, but digging his content, y'all need to go check it out. Give that kid a subscription for me. Alrighty. Alright, so I guess first thing I want to talk about when we're talking about cold fronts is what is a cold front? We always kind of start out with that. And to me, because everybody has their own opinion, to me, a cold front, like anybody knows, you get a big storm roll through. A lot of times you get low pressure during that storm. A lot of times these storms around here, they'll come from the south and they'll push up through here, and you get warm weather that comes with that. And then right afterwards, you get this northerly wind, you get high pressure, and you get a cold front that goes through. It's literally just a change in temperature. It's often accompanied by these high pressure days. We talk about, fisherman's worst nightmare, bluebird skies. We talk about cloudless days and things like that, where you got these high skies over here, and look at this. I'm being interrupted. Watch. Oh, looky there. Look at that. You gonna say hi, Bear? She's like, no, I'm busy. I got stuff to do. She's over here messing with my rods. Crazy thing. But, high skies, bluebird days, and a lot of times it's just windy, just everything that you don't really want. When you have these fronts that move in, lately they've been coming with a lot of water, so tons of rainfall. When you get that rainfall, it muddies up the water. It's not ideal conditions, but you can still go out and catch fish. A lot of times, not really the numbers that you catch on typical days, but I've noticed that a lot of times you catch some giant fish. Thank you, Heath, for going ahead and subscribing down there. So we're going to get into this today. I'm going to talk about kind of how I approach a cold front, and it might be different from the way you guys do it. So I want some comments in that live chat over there. I want you guys to interact with me. Let me know what you think, and I'll let you know what I think on how I catch these fish. But if you go down again, as always in the description, I've got my outline there. Going into the first point I've got is manage expectation. That's the biggest thing. When you got a cold front day, you got that high pressure day, you have to know in the back of your mind and at least expect to some degree that it's not going to be one of those go out and catch 60 to 100 fish kind of days. It's a lot of times it's going to be a little bit tougher. You're going to have to work for these fish. You're going to have to make them bite, because a lot of times what they do is they eat like crazy during that low pressure system coming through, and then they'll eat as the pressure is moving. So as it actually begins to rise and when it begins to fall, they really tend to feed. So you got fish that have already eaten a lot, and they're not really as active. They have very narrow bite windows in my experience during these cold front conditions. So you have to manage expectations first. Understand that, hey, we might not go out there and catch a ton of fish, but if we do run across a pot of fish, they're probably going to be grouped up, or I might catch one or two giant fish, and that's what I'm always looking for. Typically for me, I want to get those couple of big bites, so I'm going to fish high percentage water to do that. And a lot of times I'll fish kind of towards catching those bigger fish. Another point I have on here is watch the conditions. When the cold front begins, and when you have these, it's usually a few days, not just one day. A lot of times you have a few days of this high pressure, and then you have another front that moves in. So watching the conditions during that's extremely important. You know, is the water muddy? Is the water moving out? Is there a lot of current because of that? Are there going to be clean areas? So looking for the right kind of water. For me, we're talking true cold front conditions. We're talking that brutal, weather that comes in. It drops that temp significantly, and especially if it drops it into those mid 40s and things, then I know those fish are going to be pretty inactive, and I know that I want to find some cleaner water. Typically for me, dirtier water, when you get especially into those mid 40s and even lower than that, that dirty water doesn't really play as much for me anymore. I'm going to try to get away from that. I'm going to try to get stained at minimum, but if I can find a lot of visibility, I tend to like that a little bit better. I feel like it gives those fish time. They're comfortable. They watch that bait come to them, and I can get them to go ahead and eat it. Let's see here. I'm looking at my outline. As far as conditions, some of the things that you'll notice is that there's usually a drop in the surface temperature of the water. So when you're talking about surface temperature, in my mind, that's that first 3 or 4 feet. And so when I'm thinking about that, I know in the back of my mind, a lot of times those really shallow fish are going to be affected more than most fish. Some of the worst cold fronts that you get, though, are the ones that are more prolonged. So if you get a cold front that rolls in and it stays cold for 1-2 weeks or so, then what will actually happen is you'll get a major cool down in the middle of the water column as well. And that's when I really see fish push out even deeper. If they were already shallow, they'll start to push out into that. A lot of fish will be in the creek channels and things like that around the main channel, and they'll get into that 15 plus foot of water range. So you have to be aware of that as well. Again, I talked about water clarity. I like cleaner water when I'm fishing in a cold front. The more extreme a cold front, the more cleaner water I'm going to be looking for. But you also have to know in the back of your mind that dirtier water is going to warm up faster. So by getting out there and checking and finding that dirty water, if you know where it's going to be and you start to get into that warming trend, in other words, you have that next front moving in, is usually what begins to cause that. That warmer water and protected water that's not getting hit by those north winds will warm up faster, and you can really get on a more aggressive bite sooner in those areas. So when it's actually cold front conditions, I'm going to find that clean water. As soon as it starts to warm back up, again, I'm trying to push shallow. I'm trying to find that dirtier water, protected water that's going to clean up faster. And protected water, that applies to the clean water as well. I want that protected water. Again, protected by west winds, north winds, those kind of things. All right. We got any questions on there? Y'all can keep the questions rolling on here, but just be aware I might not be looking over until a little bit later in the stream here. All right, and this next point over here is probably one of the most important points when you're talking about fishing the cold front. You need to fish high percentage water, water that you have a high chance of being productive in. So again, we go back to the same thing that we go stream after stream. We talk about this. Where are the fish in their seasonal migration pattern? Is it, we're talking about cold fronts. So typically to me, cold fronts that are actually going to affect any of this is going to be fall to spring. So I'm usually in that, transitioning out of creeks for wintertime, or we're transitioning into creeks and backwaters for pre-spawn time. So it's really going to knock those fish back that are trying to get up there and do that early pre-spawn or pre-spawn deal. And so that's mostly what we're talking about today. So when we're talking about high percentage water, where are those fish going to be? I'm not going to be looking out in the middle of a river channel right now. I'm going to be looking further into a creek. I'm going to be looking into a backwater area, that kind of thing. So fish where those fish should be, and then after you get kind of in the general area, especially if you've been fishing in that area lately, following fish, that's always a great thing. If you can do that, get out there as much as possible and kind of follow these fish through the motions throughout their migration, and you'll have a lot better options, or you'll have a lot better chance of catching these fish during the cold front. Craig, I'm going to answer a question. So I want to pop up there. Craig says, what is the definition of clean water? It's completely relative depending on where you live in the country. For me, Tennessee River, typical visibility on Tennessee River is anywhere between 2 and maybe 4 to 5 feet. So to me, that is clean water. Once you get anywhere beyond that, you're talking super clean water, and anything, to me, sub 2 feet, you're kind of getting stained. Anywhere less than a foot, you're getting into dirty water, like really dirty water. That could be completely different. My buddy Ben Nowak up in Michigan, on some of his lakes, clean might be 25-foot visibility. Stained might be sub 10 feet, and dirty water is less than 5 feet of visibility. It depends on the species of bass you're fishing for. If you're in a primarily a smallmouth or spotted bass fishery, most of the time those fish are very sight oriented. So dirty water for them could be 3 to 5 feet, and in would be something they're not really as interested to feed in. Whereas largemouth, and a lot of times they have very strongly use their lateral line. They're big time night feeders, and they seem to do really well in really dirty water. So it just depends on your area of the country. All right, back to this here. High percentage water. So once you get into where those fish should be in their migration, where should the fish be? Well, they should be in the first thirds of the creeks. So you're going to go into that area. Once you get around there, you're going to immediately start looking for signs. There's no point in fishing if there's no fish there. So what we're going to be looking for is looking on our graphs. If you have graphs with side scan, down scan capability, that's always a good idea to have that thing running, be watching it. And what I'm doing is I'm going to be cruising in different depth ranges. I'm going to be looking for bait. If I'm seeing bait on there, that's a good thing. If you're a bank fisherman, walk around the bank, watch all the rock cover, watch the wood. If you got stumps around there, a lot of times you'll see little bluegill and things like that hanging around in those areas, especially during this time of year. A lot of adolescent bluegill around. They migrate around in the creek. So you find that. Where you're looking out there, you might see gizzard shad rolling, you might see threadfin shad rolling out there, but you're looking for some kind of sign of life. Could be birds. Birds is a huge thing. So you're getting around there, you're looking for that kind of stuff. And when I'm in that general area too, I'm looking for the signs of life, but I'm also looking at where should the fish be based on the current conditions, based on the amount of current that's going through there, based on the water level. So I might pull into an area I think should be good, but maybe the water's too low for that spot. So I need to pull out, look for a ditch, look for where those fish should be going. All this is running through your mind. So as you're doing that, you're going through the motions, you're finding out where the fish should be. And once you get in those high percentage areas, that's when you slow down. When you know there's going to be some fish right around this area, when you have high confidence that there's going to be fish there, that's when you really slow down. Or especially if you're lucky, you get a few bites. In cold front conditions, you get a few bites. That really tells you, hey, you need to slow down in this spot. Because what I've found, and I think a lot of you guys have probably found this too, is that these fish really will group tightly. The colder it is, the more, adverse the weather conditions tend to be, the smaller and smaller packed those schools tend to get. And as those fish pack in tighter, it can be amazing for you. I can't tell you how many of these really crummy days have been turned around for me where I've burned around the whole lake all day. I've wasted a bunch of gas. I've hit a whole bunch of areas, and I finally hit that one spot, and I'll catch 30 or 40 fish off of a spot the size of my boat because all those fish are just packed into that one spot. You know, it might be a current break, might be a little hard spot. In looking for, we're going to completely break off for just a second, but another thing to look for is artificially high water temperatures. So when you're talking, it could be something caused naturally, but you know, maybe around a dam, a water discharge, maybe in a tail race. You know, if you've got water coming out from below a dam from the turbines, that's coming from really low in the water column, so it's very stable water. It's a much warmer water. Geothermal heat, you know, is pushing out of there, so you get this warmer water. It might be a freshwater spring, wet weather spring. Could be a current break. Those kind of areas, those are the key areas that you're going to be looking for in order to find those fish. But again, once we get to where those fish are, if you get a bite, stop. Pick that area apart. If you don't get another bite on what you're throwing, pick something else up. Throw it in there. Throw something slow. And when I'm talking about slowing down, I mean soak a bait. A lot of times, you know, I like to still cover water with moving baits, but they're going to be different moving baits than what I would normally throw. So let's actually pop into a couple of these here. For me, cold front moving bait, probably my number one if I can find that clean water, jerk bait. You get a jerk bait, you can still cover water with that. You can cover a surprising amount of water. Again, we've talked about it in the past. I'm not a huge pauser. I'm not a guy that's going to pause 30 seconds or anything. But you get on there, you get these jerk baits, you cover water, and you find fish. Even better than that, if I can get them to hit a crank, that is even better in my opinion. So cold water cranks that I use, wiggle wart, great cold water crank. This is typically for me high 40s into the 50s. We get below that point, flat side crankbait. Again, mid-range depth. This is a Spro. I think it's a Little John. Mid-range depth, but again, we got flat sides. So what the flat sides will do for us, tighter wobble. And if it gets ultra brutal for crankbaits, Old Faithful, Shad Rap. Typically, you have to throw, this is a Bosa style bait. You're going to have to most likely throw it on a spinning rod. So that's kind of like my last resort. But those baits will get the job done. Another thing that I really like to throw when we're talking cold front conditions, 1/4 ounce trap. Y'all think that hadn't been chewed? Look at that thing. 1/4 ounce trap can be awesome when you're talking cold front conditions. You can work it really slow. You can work it like a blade bait. I say a blade bait is another excellent bait for when you get cold front conditions. I don't have one right in front of me here. I couldn't find one in my little go box, but it's something I use constantly. Fish are a little deeper. Spoon. It's a War Eagle spoon right there. It's awesome for that kind of stuff. What's up, Morgan? All right, so we're going down through here. Other baits that I like to use. We're still talking moving bait category. Like a grub for me, it's something I can fish ultra slow, but I can effectively fish it higher in the water column too. And when I say grub, I lump a small, like a 2.8 Kitech, I lump that into the grub category. I like that one. I like the Zoom Swimming Fluke Junior. I like that one a lot. These Kitechs that Saudi Custom Tackle makes for me, and an underspin can be really good as well. When you're talking about slow baits, so that's what I'm using to cover water and get my initial bite, right? Now let's talk about slow presentations to once I get the bite, once I get as many bites as I can with those particular baits out of a school, what am I going to pick up then in order to get, milk it and get the last few bites that I possibly can out of there? Probably the first thing that I love to throw is, again, that MGC Custom Tackle Shaky Head. This is the finesse version of it. I'm loving this thing so far. And this is that Tube X. Vertical Tackle makes this thing. Caleb Lutzer gave me several of these at the Knoxville Fishing Show. Oh my goodness. It has a little rattle that goes up in that thing. Amazing bait for finesse, when you're flipping around cover and stuff like that. Another one I absolutely love is a finesse jig. You get that little finesse jig, small trailer on it, whether it's a twin grub or this little Ultra Vibe speed crawl, something natural. I can just drag that. And when I'm fishing in in these kind of cold front conditions, I'm just dragging that thing. I mean, like, we're talking, if this is the tip of my rod, I'm just pulling it along. I'm not shaking it, and I'm just going to set it there. Pull it along, set it there. If I'm fishing a drop shot, which is another one I love to throw, these are a couple of dream shots here and a couple of colors that I like. Throwing that thing in there, throw it out right where those fish are. Again, I've got the bite. I know where those fish are. Pitch it out there, soak it. Let it sit there. I'm not shaking it and doing crazy stuff. Set it there. Pull it a little bit, set it there. Pull it a little bit, set it there. And that thing's just sitting right off the bottom, just hanging out right in front of their face, and they'll come up and tag it. But those are some of the ones I really like. Mikey's gotten me into throwing that Nico rig too. I thought it was the dumbest thing in the world, but the fish love it, so I'm not going to complain. All right, what we got here? Questions. Excited for the Classic, Brian Speller. Yes, I am, dudes, and that's one thing. Y'all make sure to check it out. Let's see, I'm going to be over there. When am I going to be there? March 15th through 17th, Knoxville Convention Center, Bassmaster Classic, Bass Attitude booth. Y'all stay with me right here. Well, pow, we're going to look. This is a Bass Attitude booth. I think this is the upper floor. We're going to be near the Huck, Limits and Lures kind of deal. And if you look right here, this is Bass Attitude Fishing, booth 5415. Buddy, we're going to be over there. I think we're going to have Buka maybe over there, Hog Farmer. Just going to be a fun time. Probably cruise around to the Lou's booth, check those guys out. But it's just going to be a good time. I'm going to set some times later on as I kind of know what my schedule is going to be. I'll tell you some times where I'm going to be in certain areas. Hopefully we can do some meetup. Anybody interested in doing that and hang out with me for a little while. But I'm super excited for the Classic. It's going to be awesome. Back to my ugly mug. Let's see here. Louisiana Fishing Blog. How deep do you find yourself fishing a jerkbait? Look like a big bill. It really depends. What are you talking about? I got wee one over here. What? Get out of here. You got the pup over here trying to trash talk me. Yeah, this one right here, that Lucky Craft, I think this thing dives almost to 10 feet. I throw this Rapala a lot as well. That X-Rap dives to 10 feet. Typically, though, I fish a lot of mid-range jerkbaits. Stuff that runs 4 to 6 feet seems to be really good for the areas I'm fishing. Sometimes even jerkbaits that run shallower than that. And I fish a lot of different brands. You know, I got Lucky Crafts here. I got Rapalas. I use some of the old Excalibur jerkbaits. If you can get a hold of them, they are absolutely awesome. Megabass, Vision 110s, Vision 110 plus ones. Just all kinds. Well, I'm going to have a jerkbait video coming up. If we could ever get some good clean water and I can get on a good bite with the jerkbait this year, I'll do a sweet video for you guys and kind of break down how I approach jerkbait fishing and things like that. So if you're interested, smash like, tell me that you want to see that video. I'm going to do my best. Yeah, I know, Heath, the stumps do produce. I saw that dadgum 10-pounder you caught on those stumps over there. He's over here dropping dimes, as we call it, you know, dropping double digits all the time. Dadgummit. Brandon says, what about the Bandit 200 and 300 for cold water? Awesome baits for cold water. If I'm on smallmouth and spotted bass, those are definitely my go-tos. When I'm fishing largemouth, I feel like I get a bigger bite with the wiggle wart than I do the bandits. Just a little bit smaller presentation with those bandits there. And so if I'm around the brown fish, I'm going to throw the bandit more. Another one I'm going to get into throwing a little bit more is that Spro rock crawler. It's, again, very similar to a wiggle wart. I think that's going to be a good, bigger bite. You know, good bait for a bigger bite, I should say. Another crankbait that works better for a bigger class fish, in my opinion, and I know Brian will agree with me, is those Rapala DT series crankbaits. You're talking about, yes. He's already posting on here. DT6. He just caught his personal best on that the other day. Brian did. What? Correct me if I'm wrong, Brian. 9.3, right? 9.3? Yeah, big giant bass on that. I've caught a lot of big fish on that bait too. I've caught a lot of big fish on the DT10, the DT16s, and stuff like that. So it's something about that profile. It's a little bit bigger profile, and it seems like those fish get going on it. How do I feel about the Tokyo rig this time of year? I don't know how I feel about the Tokyo rig, period, honestly. I have some really good uses that I know that's going to be great for, and I'm going to talk about those in the video, but they're going to be it's going to be a lot more non-conventional, I think, than a lot of the other guys and other videos that I've seen on that bait. As soon as I saw it, light bulb went off in my head, but it wasn't for doing what they're doing with it. I do think that punch shotting, kind of the Tokyo rig punch shotting thing, that is cool. Really want to try that, punching some grass this year. A lot of the other stuff I'm seeing done with it, I would pick up a drop shot before I would do that. So we'll see. But there's a few things. I've got some things up my sleeve with that particular deal. Spro Little Johns, yeah, I've got that. This one right here. Heath just mentioned that. That's a great bait. A lot of fish tend to come on that thing. I noticed, though, it goes out of tune. I've got a couple of them, and they tend to go out of tune for me. I'm not exactly. I would pick up a DT6 before I pick this thing up. Let's just put it that way. These are more expensive, too. Grab the DT6 instead. Don't think there's any thick grass this time of year. Correct me if I'm wrong. Chickamauga this year, no. There's not really as much thick grass. If you get around some springs or something like that, you can still find some of it in the back of the creeks. There's a few areas. I wouldn't call it thick grass. You're talking about sparse little patches of grass. Like you can make a cast, you might hit it, and then the next cast feel like you made the same cast and not get any. So, it's hit or miss. And a lot of that, guys talk about spraying. There was some spraying that went on, and they say that's what knocked it back. But a lot of it has to do with just the weather itself also. You get all the rain that we had, all that historic rainfall. When you get that much rainfall, it's cloudy. The light does not penetrate in the water. The aquatic vegetation does not photosynthesize. It does not grow very well. And combine that with dirtier water from all the rain, again, no light penetration. And with dirty water comes current. And so the current pushes out already weak grass. So it's just a kind of a three-pronged approach that's really bad for aquatic vegetation. And when you add in the spraying to that, that's even worse. I'd really like to, I'm going to do a whole video at this some point, but I think that TBA or TWRA, whoever it is, really needs to take a look at what they're doing as far as their management on spraying aquatic vegetation when it needs to be based off of rainfall. How much rainfall are you getting? Are we getting enough rainfall this year to knock back the grass naturally to where we don't have to spray it, or are we not getting it? 2016, we had a drought. Tons of sunshine, no current, good light penetration. Grass grew like crazy all over the lake, and that's when they kind of got up into that spraying mode again. But you got to understand, after that, we had normal water, normal rainfall and stuff like that. And this past year, even more, above average rainfall. You have to take that into consideration, I think, when you're talking about spraying the grass in the lake. Shouldn't be spraying the grass if you've got all this rain. It's already getting knocked back naturally. God's doing it. Don't worry about it. He'll get it done. All right? Let's see here. Ba, 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 ba. Tackle Freaks, am I located in Tennessee? I think Tackle Freaks, you guys are located in Kentucky. Yep, Kentucky Lake. That's right. Y'all need to check them out. I've got an affiliate link. It's linked down in the description. If you guys use that affiliate link, it really helps me out. Helps Tackle Freaks track that you guys actually care about my opinion and might actually buy some stuff that I recommend and things like that. So if you're in the market to buy some of this stuff, check out Tackle Freaks. Follow my affiliate link there. It really helped me out. Ba, 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 ba. All right, back to the video. I know we've been kind of just on a big tangent there. Next point, size of the bait really matters. We just talked about a bunch of different baits, and if you noticed, the major theme going down these baits is small. Smaller presentations, especially as the water gets colder and colder, and the cold front itself has a bigger impact on the water. So, in other words, a bigger range of temperature drop. As that temperature really drops down, the smaller the bait is important to get bit. And the thing is, you'll still get giant bites on small presentations when it's that cold and when you have those cold front conditions. We caught a lot of really big fish on a finesse jig, caught a lot of really big fish on a 1/4 ounce trap, and some of these other little crankbaits especially, and a jerkbait during the cold front conditions. All right. Ba, 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 ba. We already talked about a bunch of the baits that I use. I think one of the exceptions to like the small bait rule is that rig. For some reason in the cold front conditions, I guess it is technically a bunch of smaller baits, but for some reason in cold front conditions that rig can be really good, and so it's not something that you should overlook. In cold front conditions, muddier water, a lot of times again I'll throw that harvester or some of the other bigger rigs, which we've already done a whole video on that. Alright, going back again to water temperature. We kind of touched on this a second ago, but the cold fronts that make the biggest difference to me is when you finally get into the 50s in the water temperature and it knocks you back into the mid or low 40s. Those kind of cold fronts, in my opinion, in our area, make the fishing the absolute toughest. So those are the ones when you go out and you really downsize. Now the ones, say if the water temp's all the way up to 60 and it drops down to 55 or 53 or something like that, those don't seem to make as much of a difference. I'll throw a lot of the same mid-range size baits that I had been throwing and get bit, but I still will slow down when I get on those fish. I'll slow down my presentations a lot of times in order to find those fish. And, you know, cold fronts, when we talk about this, they don't make as much a difference at different times of the year. So in the earlier part of the fall, a cold front that's dropping the water from, 85 degrees to 80 or 75 degrees is not going to make as much a difference as a cold front in the wintertime. Same thing when we, just like I talked about a second ago, when you get that water temp in the 60s dropping back down to the 50s or 70s dropping into the 60s, those don't make as much of a difference. The lower that water temperature is to begin with and the lower it falls is what really makes the difference, in my opinion, on what those fish are going to do. And last point over here that I've got written down, fish for a giant. If it's going to be tough out there, the bite's going to be tough, go for that big rogue. A lot of times I'll try to find that school of fish and I'll catch a few fish, but at the end of the day, during those kind of times, a lot of times that real giant fish, she's alone or she's out there by herself, and you have to get out there and find her. So get out there, get on the hunt, and fish high percentage areas. So I get around there, I know a school's of fish right here, but maybe there's not a school over there, but I see a big log where a fish should be, or maybe I know there's a big stump or a hard spot that's smaller that'll hold one big fish. I'll fish a lot of areas like that, a lot of areas where I know I can make 5 casts and cover the area and hopefully get a giant fish. It's going to be zero or hero. Because to me, during those kind of times, if I'm going to catch 5, 6, 7 fish, I would rather catch, instead of catching 5, 6, 7 small ones, I'd rather catch 1 or 2 really big fish. It's that time of the year, it's the time to catch your personal best. And lately, I haven't been doing a great job of, I've taken a few guys out. They've caught big fish in the boat with me, and I just haven't been able to put it together myself. I've caught a lot of fish in that 6 to 7 pound range, which is a good fish, don't get me wrong, but it's not the kind of fish I'm after. I'm trying to catch those over 8s right now, and I just need to get out there and get on it. Twig says, am I doing anything at the Classic? Going to be hanging out with the Boost mainly. Wearing Bass Attitude stuff, walking around, talking to folks. That's kind of what I'm going to be doing. So if y'all want to just come out and hang out, you're more than welcome to. Heath makes a good point here. He says the reason why the smaller baits work better during those cold fronts and ultra cold water temperatures because it takes less energy for a fish to digest a smaller bait when it's cold, so they target the smaller baits, so he's heard. I don't know if that, I think that is true to a degree. Sometimes these really big fish, they'll take a shot at one giant bait. If you think about it, that's a meal that's going to last them a while. But again, just like he said, metabolism's slow. They might have that one big shad in their mouth for 3-4 days trying to digest the dang thing. Oh, Melvin. Who is my pick to win the Classic? Good gravy. I don't know. I really don't. That lake is going to be a complete toss-up. I don't know if there's any guys on here that fish Loudon a lot, but from what I know about Loudon is it's a tough fishing lake. You can catch a good number of fish there a lot of times, but I'm thinking you're going to see weights kind of in that 12 to 14 pound range. It's going to be good bags on that lake, and the guy that can do that consistently is going to do well. I think guys, really the current, these tail races are going to play like crazy during that tournament. Anywhere guys can find current is going to really play. If they can get those bigger smallmouths, he can mid up there, get some of those big brown fish in the well and then hunt a couple heads. They should be doing pretty good. Aaron Martins, I think he could do well. I'm trying to think of some other guys that would be good on that lake. A lot of the local guys would be really good on that lake, Anybody that's good on the Tennessee River would be good on that lake. Aaron Martins, I think he could do really well in that. He's a guy that's good with smallmouth. He's good at finesse fishing. He's good at getting tough bites. So, good a guess as any. I don't know. That tournament's going to be a toss-up, in my opinion. I'm not really sure who's going to do well on that one. Ott Defoe could do really well. He's a Tennessee River guy. I could see him rocking out Wesley Strader. He could rock it too. So it's going to come down. It's not going to be a slugfest kind of thing. I think what's going to happen is a guy's going to find a key area where he can get a consistent bite, and then it's going to come down to who's lucky enough to get a kicker. That lake does have good sized fish. Somebody could pull a 6-7 pound largemouth out of there, and a guy that does that is really going to be kind of the pick to do it. So who's going to get that kicker bite? That's going to make the big difference. But I think smallmouth are going to play. Honestly, those brown fish are going to play in that tournament at some point. All right, questions. Opening the floor. Talk about anything now. Rocking and rolling. Tell me what you got. Hey, I got a subscriber. We're at 839 now. Heck yeah. Trying to get to 5,000 by the Classic. I don't think it's going to happen. Now I'm happy to get 4. Y'all get me to 4,000. Make sure you share the video out. Yeah, brownfish have to be 18, but there's a lot of 18-inch brownfish on that lake. These smallmouth in Tennessee River, they're not like smallmouth up in Michigan and a lot of northern states. They're very long fish. So, an 18-inch smallmouth is like a 2 3/4 to 3.5 pounder, depending on the time of year. So there's a lot of those out there, so it could make a big. I didn't know they could fish up into Tellico, and that's not a lake I'm familiar with. If anybody has any ideas, I'd like to look at that, actually. Let's look at this real quick. Pow! I'm going to run up here. See if we can find Loudon. Golly day. Where is Loudon at? Bear with me. Now we're just playing now. I'm on Watts Bar. Gotta follow it up. Oak Ridge, Lenore City. It's gotta be up here. Yeah. Somewhere right around in here, it's gotta be the dam. Yep, that's it. Found it. This has gotta be Loudon. Fort Loudon, yep. Look at this thing. Got a major creek right there. Now, where's Tellico at? Where y'all are talking about Tellico? Tell me here. Tellico is a deep lake. Yeah, I figured as much there, and I figured it'd be like it'd fish more like a mountain reservoir, wouldn't it? Take a peek at it. Tellico's a big, Fort Loudon is just a big body of water anyway. And if you look at this here, a lot of it's narrow main lake. Kind of reminds me of kind of a Watts Bar. But you got some expansive flats on here. You've got huge creek arms running out through this thing. So that could be some major players, guys running back into creek arms, finding fish in these secondary areas. Could be the dang deal. A lot of these, when you get a creek arm that's that big, what'll happen is it's just like on Watts Bar. It'll fish like its own individual lake. So the guy that picks the right creek arm and picks the right area, he could get on a completely different bite, completely different quality bite than the rest of the field if he plays his cards right. I know one thing, they're not going to have any trouble getting away from each other. That's for darn sure. To the right above the dam is where Tellico is. Yep, Tellico runs down through here. That's interesting. It looks like can you lock through from Watts Bar also? Looks like you can jump from Watts Bar straight into Tellico as well, and then you can go into Tellico from Loudon. That's interesting. I'm thinking about. I wonder if I should just go up there one day, maybe holler at my buddy Alex, and just have us go fish up there for a day and kind of break down what these guys are going to be doing or what we think they're going to be doing. That'd be kind of fun. It'd be a cool video. Bye 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 bye. Yeah, I see that. Cool looking lake. Look at it on Google Earth here. See if I can do better this time if I find it. Wow. Watts Bar. Swings around. Becomes Fort Loudon right there. Alright, we're looking at it here. So that's where you can get through from Watts, and then you can go through the canal from there. I'm seeing dirtier water, looks like in Tellico, at least in this image. It's interesting. Go back in time. Wow, look at the grass growth, guys. Look at that grass growth. Jeez. Going back in time, we're on Tellico right now. Randy says, I wonder what all the pros are doing on Chickamauga. I think they're probably daggum tired of fishing Loudon. They're going out there trying to catch a big fish. Some of them might be practicing for Major League Fishing or something like that. I know Major League Fishing is going to be over here. Or the Bass Pro Shops Tour, whatever it is. Going to be over here messing around. But I'm digging this lake. It's pretty cool looking. I mean, looks like tons of areas to fish. To me, it's going to fish more like Watts Bar. It's going to fish in a lot of areas more like a reservoir and more like a mountain reservoir than it will like a Tennessee River ledge lake, not like one of the Gunnersville or Chickamauga or Pickwick or something like that. It's not going to fish like that. These backwaters are going to be super important. I'm loving these mud lines. Look at these mud lines. If I was these guys, I would be chomping at the bits to get over here and get in these backwaters and try to catch me some largemouth. That's going to play, though. What I'm curious about is where this dam comes into Loudon, though, could play for smallmouth, too. But yeah, tons of mud lines I'm seeing on this thing. Looks like it could be a really good fishery. Some of these little back canals, plenty of backwaters and stuff. Lots of docks. A lot of people live. It's kind of a touristy lake, so you're going to have a lot of docks. Dock might actually play on this particular lake. And I'm sitting here talking to you guys, and I don't even have the dang thing turned around where y'all can see it. Why didn't anybody tell me about this? Look at this. Now y'all can actually see what I'm looking at. Good grief. Daggum, I'm a nutcase. Sorry about that, guys. Y'all just been staring at me, sitting here squinting my eyes trying to figure out what's going on here. Uh-oh. We offline? Come on now. We back. We live. Hello. Can y'all hear me again? Can y'all hear me? What we got? What we got? All right, we're online again. Anyway, guys, I flipped this over to where y'all can actually see what I'm looking at here again. I don't know why I had it set the other way before, but I've been looking at these backwaters here, and I'm going to go to Google Earth again. Look at these backwaters. Look at these mud lines, how strong this is on Google Earth. You can really see where these fish are probably going to be setting up. All right. We got plenty of docks on here again. I mean, this is going to be it could be a really fun lake to fish, you know, especially with this dirtier water that's going to be here. If they can get some warmer weather moving in, could get on a really good moving bait bite and just have a lot of fun at least. But it's still not going to play like, it's not going to be a Gunnersville. It's not going to be a Chickamauga. You're still talking about lower weights, but who knows? Somebody might get out there and catch a couple 18-pound bags or something like that. It'd be pretty cool. Michael says, "What's the water temperature over here?" We're talking Chickamauga. Chris went out today and he said he found 51 in the back of a pocket, but I bet a lot of the lake is in the 40s again. Bighorn Outdoors, I appreciate it, y'all tuning in. I hope it does help you guys out. Maybe y'all win some tournaments for me. Looks like we lost some viewers now that we lost the stream there for a minute. What's up, Brian? You need to give me a call here. I'll call you after this stream, but got your message from the other day and about editing GoPro footage. I don't know about all that. I can try to help you out, but it just takes a long dang time no matter what. Let's see here. Any questions about fishing cold fronts? Anybody want to lay some questions on me? We got about 15 minutes left. Brian says, what are the plans for the water level over the next 2 weeks? I don't know about 2 weeks out. I know the forecast right now is the water is going to hit Winter Pool tomorrow. It's going to be 675 feet, I believe. That's above sea level. But then it's going to go up. We're going to get some more rain, about 3 inches of rain, it looks like. So that water is going to kind of probably come up another couple or 3 feet. For the long extended forecast, though, they're going to drop it back down to Winter Pool. It'll be Winter Pool again next March. What's up? I got a super chat. Woo! Never done that before. Thank you, Tackle Freaks. Thank you. Yeah, I never. I didn't even tell anybody this, but y'all can donate down below over here. There's like it's like a gray money sign. If you click that, you can donate to the channel, which is awesome. That helps me out. I'll probably end up giving that money straight back over to Tackle Freaks there, so that they can send me some more baits. I need to resupply on a few things. Oh man. But anywho, yeah, what are some other questions here? Louisiana says you would think you'd fish Main Lake, deeper water after a cold front. Now that can be the case, but a lot of times, again, it's wherever the fish are in their staging. Right now, we've got pre-spawn fish. They want to be shallow, so a lot of times what will happen is those fish will pull out, but they'll pull out into the first ditch, or they'll pull out into a little secondary cut or channel, and they'll be in that mid-depth range. A lot of times 6 to 10 feet can be key when they're doing that. Yes, Brian says he wants some muffins. Yes, I agree with that. I need to talk to the boss lady, my lovely wife, see if she will make us some chocolate chip pumpkin muffins and some banana praline muffins for the classic, so we can be sitting there getting our munchie on during the classic there. Mark says, what are my thoughts on big swim baits during cold fronts and stained water? I don't really like throwing a big swim bait in stained water as much at all. To me, it's a very visual bait. It's something I want those fish to see. So most of my big swim baits are not going to come out in muddy water. I do like them on those high bluebird days. If I get some sunny days out there and I can find some decent water for it, I will break that thing out if I think there's some fish that'll see it and will commit to it there. Michael says, do I think smallmouth bass will play in the tournament? For sure, smallmouth bass are going to play in that tournament. It could end up being winning the tournament if, somebody like Aaron Martins gets on the right kind of smallmouth. You could easily catch 5 keepers on that lake. That's going to amount to about 15 pounds, which is going to be a huge bag up there. Yes, Louisiana, that's exactly right. Those fish will back off when they're in pre-spawn mode. When they're committed to being shallow, they will back off just far enough to limit the effects of the cold front to follow the bait and things, and they're going to be right back up there. Landon, once again, commenting on here, trying to get to 1,000 subs so you can get himself a John boat so he can fish in ponds and lakes and stuff like that. Get this kid to 1,000 subs. We can do it. We got enough people on here. Y'all share his content up with people on your Facebook and things like that. Let's see if we can get Landon to 1,000 subscribers. Might have to come down and fish with me, Landon, one day, and we'll do a little video together. Brian Elder, when I'm fishing post front on rising barometer and the water is still fluctuating, how would I handle fish moving from clear water to dirtier water that warms up quickly? Kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, but when those fish are, as the barometer starts to rise, as we get the water especially starts warming up, that dirtier water is going to warm up faster. So to me, I'm going to be looking, again, areas where it's mixing, but the areas that are protected. So say there's a cut, a backwater, something that's protected from, one, the current, because the current's going to bring colder water into a flat or into a backwater area. So if it's reverse of where the current's coming, which in our lake it runs from north to south, the current does. So I'm looking for a cove that's facing into the north. So let's get an example right here. Say we're on Loudon right here. One protected area would be, so say if we went into this backwater, this little creek channel or creek arm, this north facing section right here where I've got my cursor, this dirtier water up here is protected from a north wind, it's protected from the main lake current, and it's also getting a lot of heat put on it because it's got dirtier water. This area is going to warm up extremely fast. And so maybe the first little while after a cold front, I'm going to be looking at this cleaner water, right? Immediately after the cold front, the worst part of the cold front, I'm going to be in this cleaner water. As soon as that water temp starts to rise, and as soon as that barometer starts to drop, the barometric temperature starts to drop again, I'm going to be transitioning almost immediately to some of these protected, dirtier water areas because they're going to warm up super fast. Those fish will be really active in there. Tackle Freaks muffins are accepted as well. Heck yeah, dude. Yeah, my wife makes awesome muffins. If you're going to be at the Classic, we'll make some batches of it and bring it over there. You'll have to partake in that. Let's see here. Brian says big swim baits don't even work on Chickamauga. That's right, Brian. You tell him, bro. Louisiana Fishing Blog on Chickamauga. Any luck cranking 20-plus foot of water during the summertime, or does grass work best? It's really good when you have grass on the lake because what happens is it really spreads the fish out. They really tend to kind of spread out over the whole lake. Whereas if there's no grass, what happens is most of the time a lot of those fish will run to the ledges. You'll have a lot of fish kind of piled up deep, and there'll be certain key areas and community holes that are good, and those fish will get beat up. So I prefer having grass out there, but regardless of if there's grass or not, there's going to be a lot of fish that'll commit to those ledges. And cranking this past year for me, cranking that 6XD, but long lining it was a big key for me. You see Mikey Balls doing that a lot, but long lining that thing over deeper schools, anywhere between 22 and 27 foot of water was really key for me. And we all, Chris and I did this all the way out until the end of fall. Like getting into winter, we were still catching fish, long lining a 6XD in 27, 28 foot of water. And we were also going in the back of coves and catching fish in 6 inches of water. That's how crazy it's been around here. The Chickamauga does not really get that much of a thermocline. And the reason why is it's a river system. You're not going to get as much of a lake turnover. There'll be a little bit of it, especially in backwaters and stuff, but it's not near as pronounced as you would have in a normal, like a reservoir type situation. Jordan Lee, dude, that would be awesome. If Jordan Lee pulled it out again and won, I would freak out. That'd be so cool. Thanks, Louisiana, for the $10 super chat, dude. That's so awesome. That's awesome. Hey, Joe, my man. Yeah, Joe's going to be... Rebecca's going to have to make like a triple batch of muffins. Everybody's wanting to come grab those muffins there. Yes, Heath, you best... If you're coming to a Classic, dude, I want to try that smoked buffalo chicken dip, dude. Heath is, if you guys don't know, y'all need to go check out Heath's channel as well. Tennessee Fishing HD. His channel is awesome. He used to be Ace Tennessee Fishing, but y'all need to get on there, check him out. He's got some really awesome videos, a lot of, teaching videos. He does a lot of live bait stuff. It's really cool, really interesting to me, but he's an amazing cook as well, an amazing guy on the grill, barbecue and stuff. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Heath, but you do like competitions, don't you? Like some of these barbecue competitions and stuff. But yeah, I really want to try some of his stuff. He needs to bring it to the classic over there. It'd be awesome. Dang, dang, dang. Louisiana bass fishing, unbelievable. Oh, dude, I would freak out if he won another one. I was in the auditorium when he won the second one, and everybody was freaking out. I couldn't believe it. I still didn't get the memo that Jason Christie didn't have the fish, and so I figured surely that somebody was going to beat him, and the dadgum kid. And what was crazy is Matt Lee was up there too. I mean, it was nuts. That tournament was so cool. I can't wait for this classic. You guys need to come join us up at the classic. Come up there and just experience the whole thing. If it's this close, it's worth driving a few hours just to experience it. I went to the one in South Carolina, and it's just, I mean, it's a blast. You got so many people up there. Brian Elder says no super chat, just baits. Yeah, heck yeah, I've got some awesome stuff here. Y'all look at this. Go back to, hold on a second. OBS intro. 1 second. Look at my boy Brian Elder's bringing me up here. Got some gold swim baits. I can't wait to use these trailers for my chatterbaits and just throwing these on the back of an A-rig in this dirtier water. I'm going to see if I can change my curse. I can never catch fish on a rig in dirty water, but I think maybe if I use the gold, maybe switch to some chartreuse, bigger blades, perhaps I can get on a bite in dirty water with a rig. We'll see. He also brought me, what else did he bring me here? Look at this. Brian always brings me presents. He's my buddy. I like that. I got a whole box. Look at that. Y'all see what's in there? Any guesses? Who can guess what's in here? You can guess what's in there. I'll send you one. First person to guess it. First person to guess it. Let's see what we got. Oh, Brandon, my man. Brandon's getting a frog, buddy. All right, Brandon, you get to pitch which one, buddy. You gotta message me in a minute. I got black and blue, and I got Scooby-Doo brown and tan. The Scooby-Doo's my favorite color. Brian Elder turned me on to that frog, but pick which one you want, and I will send it your direction. All you gotta do is message me and send me your address and stuff, and we'll send it your way. Oh, Brian says make him guess the color too. I was too late. I'm ahead of you on these streams and stuff. Let's see here. Louisiana, have I ever seen the suspending baits that Mirror Lure makes? No, I have not. A jerk bait with no bill. Is that kind of like the depth charge? I'm going to have to look at that. Mirror Lure. Yeah, I'm going to have to take a peek at that. What we got here? Let's see here. What we got? We'll keep. You guys, yeah, you guys weren't quite as fat. Brandon just messaged me. Message me, bro. Facebook or Instagram, and I'll get those over to you. What in the world's going on here? Mirror Lure. Which one are you talking about? Joe, you got one? Joe's always giving me baits too. Y'all need to check out his channel. It's awesome. Click his link right there. But yeah, he's always got all kinds of cool stuff. He gave me some Excalibur crankbaits the other day and some Lucky Craft crankbaits that are not even made anymore. So it's this one right here. That's a cool looking bait. It reminds me of depth charge. Yeah, I'm gonna save that to my bookmarks. Boom. Done. Saving it. Moves like a spook underwater. Yeah, that's just like that depth charge. I can't remember who makes that depth charge. East Tennessee, I think it's East Tennessee Fishing. Scott Heppenstall or Hepstall or whatever. I've seen a few videos of him throwing that thing. It's really cool looking bait. Sounds good, Brandon. Yeah, do it, man. Send me that address and contact information. I'll get that thing sent out to you. Should we start doing giveaways on all the live streams? I bet everybody'd like that. Next, we're giving away this loose Super Duty reel. No, I'm just kidding. You're not getting it. I had to sit here and tighten the handle on this thing. I messed with it and loosened it up. The last time I cleaned the reel, I didn't get the handle all the way tightened down. That's the only thing with these handles. You got to be real careful. They got a little star part on them right there. You got to be careful to make sure it does what it's supposed to do there. But good reel. I've had this reel for 4 years now. Love that thing. Any more questions? I'm going to answer a couple more questions. I'm going to pop off here. We're over an hour now on the stream. What we got? Questions, questions, questions. .45 45-degree, muddy water, muddy rising water, no grass, any strategies you would suggest? So we got 45-degree water. It's cold water, it's muddy, and it's rising. To me, the key factor there is rising. Anytime I've got rising water, doesn't matter how cold it is, most of the time those fish are going to follow that on up. When we're talking muddy, it depends again if we're, if you'll go back to that video, I did a video on dirty water, but muddy water, if it's chocolate milk water, they're going to go straight up and they're going to find visible cover. They're going to nose right up to it and stay there. If it's stained water, in other words, they can see a little ways. Usually for me, it's a little bit over a foot or so visibility. Those fish can still be offshore. They'll be on that original bank line where they were before. They'll get on little offshore humps and points and things, and they'll really group up on that. So again, I'm going to pull into those areas. If it's chocolate milk, I'm going to go straight there. I'm going to start flipping. I'm going to soak a bait. I'm going to flip a bait. I'm going to throw a square bill or a crankbait, multiple casts, maybe a big spinner bait, multiple casts around cover that I can see. Stained water, I'm going to go a little bit offshore. I'm going to try to find those areas where those fish are clumped up, usually around current. If I can find some kind of current, whether it's wind or created by a dam or a river system, that can be really good. Tackle Freaks, yes, what is the bait the bass want? All these baits right here. Let me see if I can do this. This is why fishermen are poor. They want all of this all the time, and then they want everything else that I've got over here, all the thousands of dollars worth of stuff I've spent. Landon, what bait do I prefer in the rain? It depends on the rain. A lot of times in the cold rain, I've caught a lot of fish on a trap. I've caught a lot of fish on a spinner bait. I've caught a lot of fish on a rig if it's cleaner water. Those tend to be baits that I throw a lot in the rain. If I'm deeper, shaky head can be a really good bait to throw in the rain. I don't really know why, but I just catch a lot of fish around it, in summertime especially. Later, Brian. Give me a call after this stream over here. I'll talk to you for a minute. Joe says, cold, muddy water, load up and go home. Brandon says, seen some bigger pre-rig swim bait, Saudi custom tackle. Are they good? I'm assuming is what you're saying. I've been wanting to either get some or boom shad. Which one? They each have their own place. The ones at Saudi custom tackle is going to be a semi-hollow body swim bait. It's going to be similar to a producer or a Scottsboro, whereas the boom shad is more of a hollow body type swim bait. To me, it's more on par with maybe a Zoom swimmer or a bass trick. So my encouragement would be to get both and try them out. The boom shad's going to have a little bit more action than the Saudi custom one as far as the wobble and stuff like that. They can both be really good though. Oh, Tackle Freaks. Morgan says, deal. All right, guys. Next time, we can share this video up and we can get 100 watchers on the live broadcast. He's going to drop a gift card for one of you guys during the live broadcast. Tackle Freaks is one of the guys that's one of the companies that's I'm super thankful to have supporting me. So let's see if we can get to that 100 people on the live stream next time. We can go ahead and get that, get that gift card for some lucky guy. We'll start doing giveaways on the live streams. That sounds fun to me. I'm going to start announcing that. I'll announce that on social media this week, Morgan, so hopefully we can get enough folks on here. Gizzards all natural, all conditions. Joe says, am I working tomorrow or going fishing? I'm going fishing tomorrow. Me and Chris are going to go for a little while. I'll probably see you out there, Joe. 15% off Tackle Freaks this weekend. Y'all check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Lake Seminole tomorrow. How do you think FLW tournament will be? What I know about Seminole, I just got a call from Talk to Ben Nowak. He's down there filming for a couple guys on Seminole. Big storm just went through. We had that tornado that hurt some people and maybe actually I think killed some people in Alabama. But that tournament came by close to Seminole, murkied up a lot of the water, got a cold front in the wake of that. So what's going to happen is those fish really wanted to move up. They're getting pushed off. Those Florida fish are really known for doing that. So those fish are going to pull off. But I think towards the end of the week, during the tournament, the course of the tournament, it's going to warm up again. Those fish are going to pull up. So the guys that can make it, that can survive the first couple days and make it further into the tournament should have some really good days out on the water. It's going to be an interesting tournament because the conditions are going to be changing the whole time. So whoever wins that tournament is a bad dude. He's a really good fisherman because he's going to have to overcome changing conditions. He's going to have to catch fish in tough conditions, and then he's going to have to continue to ride that momentum when those fish really start to bite. So it could be one of those where somebody does really good at the start and then he gets caught at the end of it by somebody who just stumbles across the right fish on bed towards the end of the tournament there. All right, dudes. I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for hanging out with me again. That was awesome, dude. I had a blast hanging out with you guys. I like hanging out with you every Wednesday. I'm going to try to do these every Wednesday. I missed last Wednesday, which sucks, but I'll be after you. Oh, another thing, guys, I've got my own box coming out on Tackle Freaks. I took some time, got with Morgan, and I broke down what baits I would like to use in certain time periods. So for me, it was, I made a rig box. Like, literally, these are the rigs that I would use, the swim baits, everything you need to pre-rig a rig. And also like a pre-spawn box, got all kinds of crankbaits in it that I use. It's stuff that I use, and you could actually go on there and buy one with all the things. So instead of just looking at these videos and me telling you what to get, you can literally just get on there for that month, and I'll tell you this is everything I'm going to be using that month. You can get on there and buy the thing. I'm going to try to keep them in that $50 to $100 range, but if you guys would be interested on that, I would like to know. Comment down below. And let me know if you guys are interested in something like that, because I think it'd really help y'all out. It helped me out for one, because y'all giving me some kickback on getting the products themselves, but it also would help you because y'all have to go hunting down a bunch of different things. It's almost like having a shopping cart pre-done for you right there. So let me know if y'all would be interested in that. Brandon said, just wanted the stream, said I'd down a fish. You lives on Mississippi, not that far. Dude, I'm telling you, if you want to come up, maybe you and your dad or something like that, Landon, get on here, message me on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll see if we can get you up at the houseboat over there, put you up for a day or so, and we'll try to get out on the water and do some fishing. How's that sound? But yeah, shoot me a message, buddy. We'll see what we can do. All right. I think that is it for this stream. Thanks for hanging out, BassQuest Live. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, and share the video. We need 100 guys to hang out next time on the live stream. Tackle Freak's going to give away a gift card. And I need some of you dudes to go down there and buy my box or whatever, because I'm going to get that thing up for you here in a little while. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for, we're getting close to 3,900 subscribers. That's crazy. We've been growing like crazy. I appreciate all that support. Appreciate y'all keeping sharing the videos. I'm going to do my best to keep giving you this kind of content that'll hopefully teach you a little bit more about fishing, give you a few more ideas when you're out there on the water, maybe help you catch a few more fish. If you do catch a giant, make sure you tag me. If you caught a giant doing something that you learned from me, I would love to see a picture of that fish. It just kind of gives me the pride of knowing that I helped out a little bit, during that whole process. But as always, dudes, I'll see you next time. We're going to do this next Wednesday. I'm going to have me a good video at some point this week. Hopefully, either a spinnerbait video or jig video is coming next. Complete guide. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for hanging out.